In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the truth about celiac disease. Now, if you already have celiac disease, you'll probably know everything there is to know about the disease. But what about your family and friends? Do they understand the disease and the complexities of it? Hopefully this video will help them to a greater understanding. Hi, I'm Mike Hines from justknowgluten.com, creator of this channel, Gluten Advice. If you like the content and you like the video, why not give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit the notification bell down the bottom. That way you'll be informed every time we post new content on here. We post on here 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. The Gluten Advice channel is devoted entirely to celiac disease and to gluten intolerance. So, why not pop back from time to time? Okay, let's get straight into the content. People with celiac disease will probably know everything there is to know about it. But for family and friends that do not understand, celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder which targets the digestive system. Celiac disease is a disease of the small intestine. With celiac disease, the intestine experiences an immunological or allergic reaction. The small intestine does not absorb the nutrients of the food digested. This will be a problem in the future because the necessary nutrients are not being absorbed into the body. The threat of nutrient deficiency is higher in children who have contracted celiac disease. This in turn leads to nutritional, vitamin and mineral deficiencies. It is vitally important that celiac disease is discovered early to prevent any critical illnesses. There is no cure for celiac disease, and anybody who claims otherwise should be taken with caution and skepticism. The disease is also known as celiac sprue or gluten-sensitivity enteropathy. In recent studies, celiac disease affects different people regardless of the ethnic background. Celiac disease is common in European countries, particularly Ireland, Italy, Sweden and Austria. In Finland, the prevalence may be as high as 1 in every 100 persons, while in North America its prevalence is 1 in every 3,000 people. Worldwide, its occurrence would be 1 in every 250 people. Age has no bearing in contracting the disease. Children and adults alike can develop the disease. The exact reason why the lining of the intestine is being damaged is still unknown. According to research, the disease is genetic in origin. The exact cause of the disease is unknown, but it is often inherited. If someone in the immediate family has, chances are 5% to 15% that another member of the family may have it as well. It can occur at any age, although problems don't appear until gluten is introduced into the diet. There are also times, for unclear reasons, that the disease appears or was experienced after some form of trauma. It can happen or emerge after an infection, a physical injury, the stress of pregnancy, severe stress or surgery. Like I mentioned earlier, it is triggered by eating foods that are rich with gluten, like cereal, grains, bread, pasta, pizza, crust and even cookies. Any food that is made from wheat, barley or rye most likely contains a good amount of gluten. When food with gluten is eaten, a reaction occurs in the small intestine which causes damage to its inner lining. The disease can be mistaken as other allergic reactions, but the signs and symptoms are not that apparent. There are no typical signs and symptoms of celiac disease, and there are even patients that have no symptoms. They only show the symptoms after introducing gluten into their diet. There are many cases that celiac disease is often misdiagnosed or undiagnosed. The symptoms are often confused with other conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, gastric ulcers or nervous conditions, and Crohn's disease. People with celiac disease will result in weight loss, diarrhea, stomach pains, foul-smelling stools, and osteoporosis. Blood tests are conducted for such things as anti-tissue transglutaminase and anti-endomycin antibodies. Blood tests are used to find the elevated antibody levels. These elevated levels are a sign of celiac disease, since the person's immune system recognizes gluten as a foreign substance and increases the number of antibodies to fight it. After confirmation or getting elevated antibody levels in the blood test, the doctor or attending physician performs intestinal tissue checks. This is to microscopically examine a small portion of intestinal tissue to check for damage to the villi. A thin, flexible tube is inserted through the mouth, down the esophagus and stomach and into the small intestine to take a small tissue sample. The tiny, hair-like projections from the small intestine that absorb vitamins, minerals and other nutrients will provide the necessary information if the villi is damaged. The procedure is not really painful, just uncomfortable, and you probably will be sedated. Also, patients with celiac disease do show other symptoms. Patients may have the presence of a blistering, itchy skin rash known as dermatitis herpetiformis. An estimated 10% of patients with celiac disease also have this skin disorder. Dermatitis herpetiformis is a skin disease that can be found on the extremities, buttocks, neck, trunk, and scalp. As I said earlier, there is no cure for celiac disease, but there are ways to live with the disease. And the first line of defense is a gluten-free diet. Dr. Dennis Lee, the author of the article Celiac Disease, Gluten Enteropathy, states that it is necessary to firmly establish the diagnosis of celiac disease before commencing a gluten-free diet for three main reasons. Reason 1, to identify if the gluten-free diet should be followed, which is a lifelong and tedious commitment. Reason 2, to avoid patients with irritable bowel syndrome to unnecessarily commit to a lifelong gluten restriction. Reason 3, a gluten-free diet can lower the blood antibody levels and allow the small intestine to lose the typical appearance of celiac disease, thus complicating subsequent efforts at making a firm diagnosis of celiac disease. Avoiding foods with gluten will help prevent any inflammation of the small intestines. You may need additional supplements to help your malnutrition caused by celiac disease. A gluten-free diet includes eating the right amounts of fresh meat, fish and poultry, dairy products, and of course fruit and veg. Your dietary options are not as limited as you might have earlier thought. Rika and potatoes are also a good replacement for wheat products. Learning the truth about celiac disease should not be approached as something scary, but rather should be treated as an opportunity to get to know the disease and the right way of approaching it. Hello, I'm Mike Hines, creator of this channel, Gluten Advice. Thank you for watching today's video on the truth about celiac disease. I do hope you enjoyed it and you found it informative and helpful. If so, why not give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit the notification bell down the bottom. That way you'll stay informed every time we post new content on here, the Gluten Advice channel. This channel is devoted entirely to celiac disease and gluten intolerance. So hope to see you back here sometime soon. Again, thank you for watching, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye bye for now.